BRICS – Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is the acronym coined for an association of 5 emerging economies and political powers at the regional and international level. The 5 BRICS countries represent over 3.2 billion people, or about 41% of the world population. BRICS countries have a combined nominal GDP of $18.6 trillion, with about 23.2% of the gross world product, combined GDP or PPP, of around $40.55 trillion, or 32% of the world's GDP PPP. Today in this video, we are going to show you the economy and military aspects of BRICS in detail. Now, let's compare the economic size of each country. GDP nominal of BRICS countries. China comes in first with US $13.4 trillion. Next comes India with $2.7 trillion. Brazil with $1.8 trillion, Russia with $1.6 trillion, and South Africa with $368 billion. GDP PPP of BRICS countries. China comes in first with US $25 trillion. Next comes India with $10.5 trillion, Russia with $4.2 trillion, Brazil with $3.3 trillion, and South Africa with $794 billion. Real GDP growth rate of BRICS countries. India comes in first with 7.2% GDP growth rate. Next comes China with 6.5%, Russia with 2.1%, Brazil with 1.1%, and South Africa with 0.7%. GDP nominal per capita income of BRICS countries. Russia comes in first with US $11,327. Next comes China with US $9,608, Brazil with $8,968, South Africa with $6,377, and India with $2,036. Now, let's see the military strength of BRICS in detail. Active military personnel. China comes at first with 2 million plus active military personnel. Next comes India with 1.4 million plus, Russia with 1 million plus, Brazil with 384,100, and South Africa with 78,000. Defense budget comparisons. China comes at first with US $175 billion. Next comes India with $66.5 billion, Russia with $61.4 billion, Brazil with $27.8 billion, and South Africa with $4.5 billion. Among the BRICS, Russia, China, and India have nuclear weapons and have triad capabilities, can launch nuclear weapons from land, air, and water. Now, coming to the size of active tanks. Russia comes in first with 15,500 plus tanks. Next comes China with 6,750 plus tanks. India with 4,800 plus tanks, Brazil with 440 plus tanks, and South Africa with 167 tanks. Total aircraft strength comparisons. Russia with 4,000 plus aircraft comes in first. Next comes China with 3,400 plus aircraft, India with 2,100 plus aircraft, Brazil with 730 plus aircraft, and South Africa with 220 plus aircraft. Fighter jets strength comparison. China comes in first with 1,670 plus fighter jets. Next comes Russia with 1,100 plus fighter jets, India with 566 plus fighter jets, Brazil with 60 plus fighter jets, and South Africa with 17. Now coming to the size of aircraft carriers. China has 2 aircraft carriers, India has 1 carrier in active service and another one to enter sea trial soon. Russia has 1 aircraft carrier at the moment, whereas Brazil has 1 helicopter carrier and South Africa doesn't have aircraft carriers. Submarine strength comparisons. China has 75 plus submarines, Russia has 64 plus submarines, India has 20 submarines, Brazil has 6 submarines, and South Africa has 3 submarines. Now, coming to the strength of destroyers. China has 36 plus destroyers, Russia has 13 plus destroyers, India has 11 destroyers, South Africa and Brazil don't have any destroyers at the moment. Frigate strength comparisons. China has 52 plus frigates, India has 14 plus frigates, Russia has 10 plus frigates, Brazil has 8, and South Africa has 4. Coming to the strength of corvettes. Russia has 80 plus corvettes, China has 42 plus corvettes, India has 23 plus, Brazil has 3, and South Africa has none. Now, coming to the strength of battle cruisers among the BRICS, only Russia has cruisers, 5 in number. The rest of the countries don't have any cruisers at the moment.